Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
It's a pleasure to come your way. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. This is Joy News Desk. On to our first story. As residents in some parts of the northern region continue to count their losses days after the torrential rains ravaged homes, the people are not out of the woods yet, as the Ghana Meteorological Agency has warned of more rain from today. We'll be checking with our correspondents on the weather conditions currently, but first, let's listen to Joshua Asamoah of the Meteo Agency in an interview with Joy News on the expected rains.
Tamale's case peculiar is that the storm stagnated over that area for a very long time before it drifted to the Upper West and Savannah regions. So the heavy rains they had was because of the stagnation of the storm, which affected the northern portions of the country over Tamale and more areas in the northern region before it went to the Savannah and Upper West regions. So it's conditions that they will be experiencing because we are still in the rainy season over the northern portions. So it's not really an odd situation, but I think just like the man on the ground said, there are some factors that are local and activities by man which will cause some of these flooding events to occur, but the rainfall that occurred was not really out of the ordinary.
Now, before the northern region of Tamale had its rain yesterday, we've had some rain as well in the upper west region, where we saw some roads and all that damaged. Would you say it still has to do with the rainy season, because the rains were quite heavy?
Yes, it still has to do with the rainy season. The rainy season, Northern Ghana has one rainy season. So it starts somewhere in June, July there, and then goes all the way to September before it subsides, and then they enter into the dry season. But for us in the south, we get two rainy seasons. The major one will come in April, May, June, and then we'll get a break around July, August, before we enter into the minor rainy season in September, October, and November. So before we will enter into our minor rainy season, the north will continue to be experiencing some of these rains. And then the upper west rains came in August, which is still the peak of the rainfall season in the northern sector. So it's still the rains they are getting because they are in their peak rainfall season. It's nothing really. It's very likely we'll get another rainstorm this week. Hopefully between Wednesday and Thursday.
Let's take a look now at the areas to be affected in this statement from the Meteorological Agency, as you can see on your screen. So it reads a weather update for the 1st of September 2021. And a rainstorm has been observed today, the 1st of September 2021, over the southeastern borders of Togo and Ghana. This storm is expected to drift westward to produce thunderstorms with rains over the southern half of the country from this morning into the late hours of the afternoon. Areas around the southeastern borders are expected to be affected this morning into the mid-morning. It also says places along the coast and slightly north of the coast will also experience thunderstorms and rains from mid-morning into the late afternoon. The rainstorm is expected to continue its westward movement to affect places in the Ashanti, Western North, Ahafo, and the West Coast in the afternoon. To note there, the storm is expected to be accompanied by strong winds, and the Meteo Agency also says updates will be issued as and when necessary. The probability of occurrence to be noted is 70%. And so those are the details there, especially those of the coastal stretch and those of us in Accra. Let's now go to our Northeast regional correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko, who will be joining us from the Northeastern region. Ilyasu, what can you tell us on the weather situation there currently?
Well, this morning it was very, very hazy all over the part of the Northeast region. I mean, drivers on the road had to switch off their lights to be able to go through, but As I speak to you right now, the weather is very clear, the sun is up, but there seems to be some cloud forming, but largely, it's quite different from what we witnessed in the morning across the region. A clear weather now, but like I said, we see a bit of cloud forming in parts of the region.
Right, so as of now, no real threat of rain, but how have residents been reacting on the back of recent happenings, especially a little up north?
Well, we still continue to record more deaths in the northeast region. Today, my checks with the National Disaster Management Organization and authorities at the Regional Coordinating Council revealed that we have about 11 people who have died so far due to the torrential rains that have been occurring in this part of the country. And so this morning, when you go to most villages, all of them, or most of them, have gone out, even with their little children, to try and go to their farms to salvage their produce. You see a lot of villagers leaving their communities, some with almost all their family members, to try and harvest their granules, their maize, and then millet as well. And so residents are bracing themselves, especially they also know that the very few days, in the coming days, the Bagre Dam actually will be open, and so they are scrambling to get whatever they can salvage on their farms before this twin disaster occurred. Like I said, the rain continues to come and continue to cause more destruction across the region. As we speak to you right now, 16 communities are cut off from the rest of the region, and people continue to lose their farmlands. Hundreds of farmlands are already submerged already. And so there are lots of destruction caused by the torrential rains in parts of the region already.
Ilyasu, my final bit to you. I know NADMO officials have been on the ground. Have they taken stock of exactly what has happened? What have they been telling you thus far?
Well, NADMO, as you're aware, the National Disaster Response Team currently in camp in Wale here, they have come to with heavy equipment on standby, and also going to communities to try and help the community members, especially those along the waterways of the white boulders, to evacuate to higher grounds. And they are also asking residents not to go near the waters because the rivers are always swelled already. Water levels are already rising. So what the NADMO is doing currently in the region is intensifying their sensitization in communities that are mostly affected by the spillage. And they are also saying that they are on standby for any rescue mission in case the need arises in the region.
Ilyasu, thank you very much for engaging us. Ilyasu Tanko is our Northeast regional correspondent. Let's cross over now to the northern region where we have Martina Bugri standing by. Martina, tell us about the latest developments there. As of yesterday, there was no real threat of rain. The waters were receding. What is the current state?
It's almost the same as we speak. It's been a mixture of sunny and cloudy days. You have the clouds coming, and then within a space of time, it's vanished and the sun comes. But I must say that there's a similarity between what's happening today and what happened on Monday. And so this creates uncertainty for people. They are unable to take a decision as to what to do because you never can tell when the clouds will give way. On Monday, it was same. If the sun comes out a bit and then disappear, the clouds gather, and suddenly the clouds open and the rain came in so heavy. And so that is making it a bit difficult for people to take decisions. When you go into the market, some stores are yet to open. They will normally have opened by this time of the day, but there's a bit of hesitation because they do not know what can happen any time. And so some people are adopting the wait and see for a while before they take a decision on what to do on these days.
Let's talk about the people and their property. They are counting their losses, we know, but I know some of them fled to neighboring communities in anticipating that if the waters were to recede further, they would be able to come and salvage some of their property to prevent theft as well. What have they been sharing with you in that respect? Have they been able to do this?
Yeah, when you go through these communities, you see that people have dried their things in the sun. And even though the sun is not so set and it comes on and off, but they are taking advantage of the wind that is also blowing to have some of the supply. So it's clothes, you see electrical gadgets, people documents, and you will see a lot of things that people have moved out to be able to get them dry a bit. Most people are worried that with what is happening, there is the need for urgent attention to deal with the drainage because they cannot continue to work and lose everything they have anytime there's a flood in the region. It is not the first time, it is not the second time, and they believe that if something is not done, this will continue. And that is not too good for them, especially those who are either retiring soon or those who have retired. Yesterday, I spoke to an elderly couple. They look, these are people who have just gone on retirement and haven't lost everything to the flood. It wasn't a very good mood or a pleasant mood to watch in that family. And so they are hoping that a definite decision will be taken on some of the key things that are causing these floods in the metropolis to ensure that this doesn't really happen any longer.
We're grateful, Martina, that you joined us with the latest. Martina Bugri is our Northern Regional Correspondent. Let's now interact with the Northeast Regional NADMO Director, Al-Hassan Kweku, who joins us with more on their interventions and rescue efforts so far. Mr. Kweku, thank you for joining the conversation. How many people has your outfit attended to so far, and how serious have their situations been?
Well, good morning, and good morning to your cherished listeners, and thank you for having me. Like I've always maintained, Northeast region, the situation is okay. We're anticipating the spillage, but it's not been done yet. Our operational team is monitoring the situation. And then we are also ready, like I said from the beginning, to give assistance to any potential flooding areas. Apart from the farms that I indicated earlier that they were submerged, and then some of the communities which were cut off, and the deaths that we recorded earlier, we haven't had any incident yet with regards to the flood and the rains. Even though we are still in the midst of the rain, nobody can predict the behavior of the rain going forward. We are on the ground. We are firm on the ground. Even our Director General himself is in the region, and we are monitoring the situation. And then we don't have internal displaced persons at the moment. NADMO is more than prepared in terms of relief items and other logistics to deal with any situation that will arise. So we are on the ground.
Mr. Kweku, you speak of monitoring, and of course, it stands to reason you're a disaster management organization. So the disaster happens, and of course, you have to react. But you speak of your readiness and the fact that you have what is needed. What exactly have you been fitted with, if I may put it that way? Is it the usual rice, oil, among others, maybe mattresses that should any disaster happen, you're going to be giving the people?
As part of the plans that are put in place, some of the communities are flood-prone communities. And if I say flood-prone, it's not about the communities themselves. It's rather their farms that are always affected. And then because we are anticipating that we can get some internal displaced persons, we've already identified safe haven in all the districts. And then we've made... Hello?
I'm listening to you, sir.
I'm saying that we have identified safe havens in all the districts. We've made provisions at these safe havens in terms of feeding, in terms of where the people will sleep, in terms of what we can do to make them a bit comfortable. We have done that. And then, like I said, our operational team from the national level is stationed at the vantage points to help evacuate citizens or victims when they need a rider. So everything is set, and then we are still monitoring the situation. As I speak to you now, we haven't experienced the spillage of the Bagre Dam yet.
Right. Very quickly, right before I move on, you spoke about this safe haven. And on the back of what you said, I just want to find out about how many people can this safe haven take should the worst happen?
Some of the safe havens are churches, some of them are schools.
Right.
And then some of them too, we are living with our relatives in almost every part of the region. So whenever there is disaster, some of them may choose to go and leave their relatives. So we don't have a problem with that. But we are assuring you that everything is under control. The safe havens that we have identified can contain any situation that will arise. I can assure you that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kweku, for joining the conversation. From there, let's move to Nanaya Ojima of Love FM, who joins us from the Ashanti region, where he reports of some havoc caused by flooding in parts of the region. Nanaya, we understand there have been concerns about some drains which are contributing to the flooding situation in Kumasi. What more can you tell us?
So, according to the authorities, very soon the Ministry of Works and Housing will commence some 12 different drain projects to help deal with the flood situation in the Ashanti region. Right. Since the minor rainy season started, Ashanti region has experienced some flooding, especially in the central business district, among other areas in Kumasi. So the expectation is that very soon these works will come together and help the flood situation in the Ashanti region. Now, there are still likelihood or chances of some rain coming in today. Yesterday, there was about an hour of rainfall, which the intensity of rain couldn't cause much of havoc in these flood-prone areas in the Kumasi metropolis. But there have been warning that Kumasi will experience a number of rainfalls in the coming days. The clouds continue to form every now and then. Yesterday, there was some rain showers in the evening. So the expectation is that the rains will come, but how prepared are we for the flood that follows afterwards?
And that's the big question, Nanaya, especially as the meteorological agency is now telling us there could be some rain in the Ashanti region as well. But quickly on the back of those, should I say the tunnels or the should I say the gutters that link up that usually cause the flooding there. What exactly have you been told by the authorities in terms of what will be done to prevent future flooding?
So if you could remember in June, there were some floods in the Ashanti region, the Kumasi to be precise,
right,
which killed five people. Now, afterwards, the city authorities, that's the KMV, went around and started disrupting some drainage systems in the Kumasi metropolis to ensure that such occurrences do not happen in the future. But unfortunately, when the minor rainy season set in, there were some floods in the Kumasi metropolis. Now, the advice has been that the people or the residents try to deal with rescues properly, because from their findings, even though Kumasi has some challenges with drainage, there are also indiscriminate leaching and also dumping of refuse, which have often blocked these drains that have already been described as old and very small. So these are all some of the factors that contribute to the flooding situation in the region. So as city authorities try to distill these drainage systems, they are also encouraging the people of Kumasi to ensure that they properly dispose of waste to avoid blockage of these drains.
Nanaya Ojima is our Ashanti regional correspondent. Thank you very much for joining the conversation. Let's talk education now. And national efforts aimed at retaining girls in school seem to be getting some results. Often, teenage girls impregnated shy away from returning to the classroom for fear of stigmatization. The problem has affected the girl-child education in Ghana in general. In a latest Ghana Education Service report, about 694 girls in the Upper West region were thought pregnant, though pregnant, have returned to the classroom to continue their education. Despite concerns from school authorities, the phenomenon could be a sign of a better future of the girl child. We'll bring that report from the Upper West region shortly, but first, let's look at the national breakdown of teenage pregnancies from the year 2020. And as you can see on your screen, we have the details there for girls between 10 and 14 years. And the pregnancies, a total sum of 2,865. That was recorded in the year 2020. Let's now take a look at the situation in the Upper West region, which we understand could even be the least in terms of numbers. We'll be bringing you details of that. So we continue from here. We shall continue with our correspondent who is going to be bringing us the latest on that development. Rafiq Salam has more. Rafiq, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Of a single night stand of 17-year-old junior high school, one student that made her to drop out of school.
He wasn't even my boyfriend. He forced me, and that was my first time too. So we tried our best, but she did not accept it. So by now I'm staying in my father's house, and he's taking good care of me. Everything that I need, he'll give it to me. So by now, God willing, next month maybe either I can deliver or not by the grace of God.
Ever since she became pregnant 8 months ago, her father has been on the heels on the man to own up the pregnancy and take full responsibility, but he wouldn't budge.
4 months pregnant before I was in the school, but when I got 5 months pregnant, then I left the school. So I came back and I sit at home. Now it's 8 months now. I left school. So the boy that I hate him gets pregnant, he told me that he's not the one. So finally my father accepted, and he's helping me to buy everything that I will need for the hospital and the baby's things and everything that we need for the pregnancy now.
Another is a 17-year-old who dropped out of school at junior high school too.
The first time I was in a Form 2 and I got the pregnant. So my parents didn't have money to take care of me, and I got pregnant with one man. So I didn't go to school again.
The duo is part of 100 girls from Isa, Fiang, Bure, and Wohu who dropped out of school. With support from Life Again, a non-governmental organization, they are ready to be back at school, though with more responsibilities. The Upper West Region's Directorate of the Ghana Education Service pegged the number of girls who returned to school pregnant at nearly 700. Juxtaposing figures from the Ghana Health Service, Chief Executive Officer of Life Again, Saudoto Mohammed, kept the numbers in the region higher than the one reported by the Ghana Education Service.
Last year, COVID hit us, and we saw that a lot of girls became pregnant. According to statistics, we have about 110,000 girls between the ages of 10 to 19 years who became pregnant, and most of these girls dropped out of school. In the Upper West region here, we have close to 4,000 girls, and for me, I believe this is even a reduced figure, because these are figures, or these are girls who have visited the facilities, health facilities, and they got recorded by the Ghana Health Service. There are lots of girls in the rural areas who are pregnant or who have given birth within this period, but were not visiting the centers, so they were not recorded.
Her outfit launched a campaign in March this year to support teen mothers with skills training to enable them generate income to take care of themselves and those who wish to go back to school. 100 teen mothers benefited from the program, 20 of whom are being supported to go back to school.
We are all about ensuring that these girls are empowered. And also, we have a number of girls who say they want to go back to school even after giving birth. And we are giving them scholarship, comprehensive scholarship to get back to school. And we have items, we're going to give them school materials to help them to get back to school and stay in school. So it's not a one-time support. Every year we will come and support these girls to stay in school.
The beneficiary team mothers who signed a contract not to be pregnant again during their period at school expressed joy for the support and pledged not to disappoint them. For now, the team mothers have gotten their dreams of getting back to school on track, but they carry an extra burden of irresponsible men they swore not to forgive. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Fiang.
So my colleague Rafik Salam with that piece. Right before we interact with the Executive Director of Child Rights International, we'll take you through the rest of the graphics there. And the teenage pregnancies recorded in 2020 for girls between 15 and 19. Remember, initially it was between 10 and 14. 15 and 19 is 107,023 pregnancies. That is for 2020. And finally, the regional breakdown of teenage pregnancies in the past year. We have the Ashanti region topping the chart infamously with 17,802. The Eastern region is next with 10,865. The Central region hovers around 10,000. The Northern region with 9,000 plus. Then we have the Greater Accra region also with 9,018. The Western region has 8,533. The Upper East with 6,533. Volta with 6,144. Bono East with 5,741. And Bono with 4,478. Between OT and the Savannah regions, from OT Northeast, Western North, Upper West, and Savannah, they are all in the region of a little under 4,000 and a little over 3,000. And finally, the Ahafu region is at the bottom, but still with a rather high figure of 2,625. Let's now interact with the Executive Director of Child Rights International, Bright Appiah, on this development and how to provide support systems for the impregnated girls in school. Good morning, Mr. Appiah, for your time. Now, we heard one of those, that were interacting with Rafik Salam saying that this is even on the low side as far as their area is concerned. How good or bad, really, is this development?
Well, it is bad because the expectation is that you will not have children getting pregnant at that particular.
So we shall remedy that situation to get, the voice of Bright Appiah, Executive Director for Child Rights International, as he walks us through the salient details as far as this latest statistic is concerned. But as you can see on your screen, the statistic is one that gives a lot of cause for worry. Girls between 10 and 14 years, those who got pregnant in the year 2020, add up to 2,865. Mr. Appiah, welcome back. You were making a point there.
I'm saying that it is bad because we, in all things, we do not expect that children will get pregnant at that age. And then also in terms of the complication that comes with their delivery, and then also providing social services after delivery, is not something that children can handle and do not even have the strength and then the mindset to be able to do that. So on that side, it's a bad thing. The good side is that they are also realizing that teenage pregnancy is not going to be an impediment in them having access to education. And for me, it is something that we need to applaud. Whilst we deal with the issue of prevention, then those who enter the social safety net, there's a way that we have to treat them. But if they themselves are realizing that they also need to take up certain responsibilities in respect of the situation that they find themselves in, they still need to access education, and they are ready to do that. I think that we need to applaud that. So that is how I would assess in terms of the good and the bad.
What kind of support systems do you feel should be provided for these girls who are falling prey to teenage pregnancy? A lot of the time, some of them are unable to continue with their education. Fortunately, we see some of them going back. What kinds of support systems do you feel they need at this point in time?
I think the support systems be in a way that it will first of all encourage them to recognize their right to education, and then also the kind of support system that will deal with health issues. For instance, if you find a teen girl pregnant, what is the health policy that would address their needs in terms of having access to healthcare so that they can make them live safely? It is a step that I believe that when we are able to do it, it would also build confidence level of people to have trust in our health system. But the most important supporting system that we need to build is how we provide services after delivery. In this case, the social services system might be very active in responding to the needs of these children so that their parent would also have access to, will have the time to access education, because at that age we expect that they will still have access to education. So our social safety net must be built in such a way that after delivery, what do we do for them to have access to education? It is good that NGOs like us are providing support for these people, but the question to ask is that how consistent can we be in providing those support? So if you have a strong system and a supportive system, where all things we monitored so that we build up in terms of the support that we give them, that would be grateful. But in doing all this, I would still lay emphasis on prevention because of how weak our social safety net is. So we should not pride ourselves in just recording numbers of teenage pregnancies, but we should pride ourselves that we have prevented a number of children from getting pregnant so that they can have a smooth running of their education in this country. So those are the things that I feel that we should also be concerned about. So I'm waiting for a situation where the state will come out and say that within this particular period, we were able to record maybe 2,000 or 3,000 nationwide in terms of the pregnancy. But if the figures are going like that, then it shows that our social safety net is not really responding as expected.
Mr. Appiah, my very final point to you, I'd like you to address this very briefly. We also know that part of the problem is financial, and sometimes that is why these young girls fall prey to the men that they fall prey to. The predation continues. What do you think can be done to remedy that situation as far as the men who impregnate these women are concerned? Well, we appear to have lost Bright Appiah. Let's continue from there and talk about the classroom project. We take a look now at the classroom project for pupils of the Breman Jamra Catholic School. Memories of the 6 pupils killed after the school block collapsed on them is enough for them not to go to school. The fear is that the school block, which is even weaker, could crush them any day.
I'm with Ata. We came to spend holidays at a Shoko, and I heard the building have killed children at Methodist school. It was very bad because the future leaders are gone.
Did you know the building that collapsed? Did you see it before it collapsed?
Yes.
Did you ever go to the Methodist school?
Yes.
You went there and you saw that building. So when you compare that building and the one that you are studying in, what's the similarities or difference?
This is better than the one that collapsed. We are lucky that it hasn't collapsed. We thank God for that. And that building was disgusting, but this is disgusting.
And how does that make you feel?
I feel very bad because if the building collapsed, I did not know how it would kill us, but I pray to God nothing will happen like that.
My name is Esther Ekuma.
I'm 15 years. I wanted to school here because of the building, and when I was at Accra, I heard that Methodist school, school building has collapsed. So I didn't wanted to stay here at all because of the building. So I wanted to go to Esuma, but my mother was coming here, so I had to come with her. The class is heat. Desks are small. The desks are small. The classroom is small. Everything is.
The issue that happened in West Methodist School, and you look at this building and see that it looks like the same thing.
I always look west than even theirs. I always look west cry. So you have to help us.
When you say yours looks west, what do you mean?
I mean, it's like I always have crackers, potholes inside, many things. That's the wooden are like weak, something weak. So ours are worse than theirs. Ours are old than theirs and something like that.
So how does that make you feel?
We all, not only I, we all feel afraid. We all feel afraid inside.
That is the pathetic situation in which these students find themselves, and it is to address this threat that JoyNews is initiating the Classroom Project, where you can be a part of the campaign to provide a conducive and safe school structure. And this is how you can play a part. You actually can contribute via mobile money. The Momo number is there. You actually can send it to 0593 038 832. And the name on that number is Joy FM. 0593 038 832. There's also an account number at Access Bank Ghana. The name is Multimedia Group Limited, or Joy OPS. The account number is 00901010549191. It is the Castle Road branch in Accra. Of course, you can make payment in any of the branches. It's to aid the building of these two school facilities. Now, the West African Civil Society Institute has commended the initiative by the Multimedia Group. Head of Knowledge and Learning, Jimmy Chick Fomunjon, calls on the public to support interventions of such nature even across the country. He spoke on JoyNews Prime.
It's a very timely initiative and a very laudable one, and thanks to JoyNews for taking up such a great initiative. And this is quite important because, you know, in a society like Ghana, there is evidence that we, the Ghanaian people, we love to give. We love to support initiatives that can help alleviate others from poverty, that can help to enhance the living condition, and why not provide access to healthcare, to education. And so the Classroom Project is really a very timely project, one that really comes to respond to a critical need. You know, you've selected two communities at this time, but if you look across the 16 regions of the country, I can assure you that there are many more communities with these challenges. And so it's important that we start from somewhere. All of us should join our hands to ensure that we don't only give classrooms to these two communities, but we should work continuously to ensure that such an initiative is replicated across the national territory, because this is something that, of course, we will be proud of in some years to come. You could hear the little girl say that a future leader died when, you know, the classroom collapsed. And I felt very touched, because who knows, that could be that might have been the future Minister of Education who has passed on.
We're playing our part at the Multimedia Group Limited. Do help us to bring some relief to these children. We take a break now for business.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Calls to adopt indigenous digital solutions to trade under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement heralded the Made in Africa Digital Conference organized by IDEC Consultancies. The conference saw stakeholders, including the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, Ghana Standards Authority, players in the IT and trade sector participate. There is more in the following report.
Speaking at the conference, Deputy Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Amapomo Boateng, said indigenous solutions are crucial for the success of cross-border trade and payment systems, as well as the delivery of equitable social services to people across socio-economic boundaries. She added that there is the need to systematically create opportunities for homegrown startups in the space.
We have to establish strategic alliances within the trade zone in order not to fail to take full advantage of these opportunities. I believe that if governments can support a vibrant computer hardware manufacturer in one country to supply various schools across the continent, while reciprocating the support to other competitively advantaged companies and sister countries in other areas of expertise, there will be an increase in the scale upon which these companies can viably establish or cement their operations.
For his part, Director General at the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, highlighted the need to approach AFCFTA-related solutions with a global outlook.
Just shift the medicine by 0.1 milligram and a patient is injured. I think within Africa and definitely within Ghana, we like to be flexible. At least without precision, our development will be hampered. I know people say, oh, it's made in Ghana, let's take it there. If we are not that precise, we cannot compete. I mean, we buy Japanese because Japanese is clear, is simple, is direct. I think made in Ghana can be very precise and can be good quality as well.
Mayor of Accra, Mohammed Ejeisowa, revealed that his outfit is contributing its quota to digital trade under the pact through the Accra app, which he described as a one-stop shop for citizen engagement on public services. Other speakers, including renowned computer scientist Professor Nina Kukweno, Head of Regulation at the National Information Technology Agency, Kwame Ba Echamfo, and Dean of the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Justice Baoli, shared thoughts on what steps their respective institutions are taking to prepare for a digital-first trade zone.
Now, the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has rolled out new technologies for effective management of soil fertility for increased crop yield. The move is to support government's flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs. There is more in this report.
The CSIR Soil Research Institute has carried out a demonstration to showcase some of its fertility management strategies to increase maize yield at Biochrome in the Tano South district. The newly developed technology is geared towards improving agricultural sustainability in the country. 2 regions have benefited from the implementation of the new technology rolled out by the Soil Research Institute. Dr. Emmanuel Dugan is a research scientist at the Soil Research Institute.
We are rolling out technologies on soil fertility improvement to support the government's flagship program of Planting for Food and Job. So we invited farmers, extension agents, crops officers to come and see what we are doing to improve the soil status of the nation. We are doing this for Ahafo region. We will do for other regions.
The Institute observes inappropriate farm practices have contributed to soil fertility decline across the country. This affects the quality and quantity of farm yields.
Continuous cropping on the same piece of land, you continuously crop on that land. You are reducing the nutrient content. Actually, you are taking all the nutrients, so we call it nutrient mining. And inherently, our soils are not fertile.
The chief executive for Tano South Municipality, Collins Ofinam Techi, advised farmers to adopt the modern farming methods introduced.
In our municipality, it's purely agrarian economy, and about 65% or so people are directly or indirectly employed in the agriculture. We do produce quite large amount of vegetables, but we adopt almost the same old way of doing agriculture. There's every indication that we have to rely on science and research.
The new technology was developed by the CSIR SRI in collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and sponsored by the Government of Canada through the Modernizing Agriculture in Ghana program. Anita Sewa Ajuga's report read to you.
And that's business. There's more coming up after the break.
And when you see that, you know we're bringing you all the sporting action. Let me say a very good morning to my man, Oweko Ampofo.
Hi, Benjamin.
I was just saying something about his hair and what his future looks like, but we'll not share it on air.
Yeah.
We'll not share it on air.
I don't even want people to hear about it.
You don't want people to hear about it. But let's talk about the transfers. Some interesting, last-minute swoops yesterday. Tell us about it.
Yeah, about 24 hours ago, I came here and I said that, with the type of transfer window that we've seen, we shouldn't be surprised if we see some bizarre deals. And the window delivered what we'd seen previously, with Ronaldo and Messi moving and all that. It wasn't beyond us to see something like, Griezmann going back to Atletico Madrid.
Antoine Griezmann. Did you see that coming?
No way. No way. I mean, I thought with Messi leaving and, Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba taking a pay cut, Barcelona would at least be fine in the short term. But it looked like something changed in the final hours and they still wanted to push for Griezmann leaving. And so when Atletico Madrid knew that they had lost Saul to Chelsea, I think contacts were established. And it's a loan deal, but with an obligation to buy for around 40 million, which means that Barcelona are really making a big loss on that deal. Because if you remember a couple of years ago, they bought him from Atletico Madrid for about 120 million.
Yes.
And even to
it cost them quite a lot. That was on the back of, I think, the Euros after the won.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that they actually went for a loan to be able to, finance that 120 million deal. And 2 years later, they are selling the player for 40 million. I understand that his wages are astronomical, pushing up to £800,000 a week. And what Barcelona have done is to really sacrifice for the long term. There was great depth in the club. And what they've done now is that they've sold a lot of players and cut down on their wages. So they've been able to save, in essence, about 100 million in cash for the next year. So we'll see how that adds up to their rebuilding phase. But
savings can be one thing. It's kind of like Arsenal delivering with the youngsters or whatever and not buying too many players like we saw under Arsene Wenger. But in terms of trophies, having quite a drought. And it's a precarious situation Barcelona finds itself in now. Striking options, Memphis Depay?
Yeah, so is Memphis...
Aguero is basically, claiming injury and all of that.
Yeah.
It looks like a very tough corner they are in right now. I don't know. They have depth, but can they sustain the sort of momentum they've had over the years?
I doubt. And I think that's what maybe the fans might have to come to terms with. They actually got Luke de Jong. That's the Netherlands striker from Sevilla. He's a player that Koeman knows very well, and he knows Memphis Depay very well. So, but... Of course, he's not tier 1 quality and he's not going to give you 20, 30 goals a season. So I think Barcelona, this is almost as if you're taking a gap year to be able to find your feet and come back next year. So I don't think fans should expect success this season. Finishing top 4 would be good. Winning a trophy should come as a bonus and we would see how they recover.
Do you suspect Atletico might win the trophy again?
Well, without Griezmann, they did. And they've strengthened now, got De Paul, and then they've added Griezmann as well. So I think that they're the favourites. Madrid couldn't land Mbappe. They've lost Ramos and Varane as well. So in terms of the dealings this summer, Atletico Madrid are in pole position to, defend their title.
Okay, let's wrap up on some more transfer news. Which are the others that we can speak of apart from, Camavinga is now old news, and we also have Antoine Griezmann. Which others can we speak of?
Yeah, so you can see how Camavinga would be incorporated in the Real Madrid lineup on your screen. But I don't think we've touched too much on Saul Niguez. He's a midfielder, and, Chelsea said that they needed a midfielder heading into the transfer window. Just to provide backup to Kovacic, Kante, and then Jorginho. And I think Saul is a fantastic player.
Imagine that lineup and they need backup, and even the backup is... Chelsea right now, the team is... Your team...
The team to beat.
Is on a different level, but we shall beat you. The Red Devils, we shall beat you.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. I think so is a great addition. He can play anywhere across midfield. He can even go in advanced roles and all that. So it's a good deal, a loan with an option to buy for around 40 million euros. So we'll see if Chelsea exercise that at the end of the season. It will depend on how well he performs. But speaking of Man U, you still have Fred, and that's how you could possibly line up next season. And what do you think about that lineup?
Nowadays, when I see the name Fred, it's making the name Fred distasteful to me. Unfortunately, with all due apologies to anybody named Fred or Fred. Fred in the Man U team is the one I'm speaking of. If I could put him out and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself.
But you know, you can't have a perfect team, you know.
No, but Ula is not helping. He recently chalked 100 games for Man United. Yeah. Yes, we've moved from 4th to 3rd to 2nd and all of that. But Charlie, ISL football, if you don't win,
nobody remembers.
Second place and all of that, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Doesn't matter. Just they call Champions League. But anyway, thank you for bringing us the scoop as far as the transfers are concerned. I know in Ghana too, there have been a few things going on in terms of our own transfer market and Gladstone, Awako, right?
Yeah, Awako.
And some of those players.
You know, we've not really seen a lot of drama because it closes, I think, deep into October. And so there'll still be a lot of deals. Hearts of Oak have been quite active in the market because they have to register their players for the CAF Champions League, which begins in a couple of weeks' time. But speaking of Awako, there's a special feature on him. He speaks for the first time, and you can catch that live on the JoyNews channel at 2 p.m. today. So do make a date for that one.
Always good to catch up with you, and that's how we sew it up on JoyNews desk. But before we go, some stories from myjoyonline.com that you can actually savor. You can go there and check out a lot of those stories, myjoyonline.com. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for staying on Joy News Desk.